Now that you've gotten an overview of the Steinauer website in general, I wanted to go into a little bit more detail, or maybe a lot more detail, on the family tree itself. So to get to the family tree, you go to the website just like you would normally, www.steinauer.us, and then you go under the family tree menu. All of the information you need about the family tree is right here. If you've never been to the family tree before and don't have an account, the first thing you need to do is go to the Access Request link and request an account. This is actually a fairly straightforward process, but it will take a little bit to get your account approved. To do this, you go to this page, fill out this form with as much information as you have, and click Submit. It's important that you fill this out as accurately as you can, so that I understand who you are. Most importantly, in the notes and comments section, include information that will allow me to find you in the family tree. The easiest thing to do there is include, say, your parents, your grandparents, your date of birth, information along those lines that will allow me to track you down and identify you as a real member of the family, things that other people wouldn't know about you. Once you have that, click Submit. What that will do is send me an email with information about you that will allow me to determine whether or not you should have an account. If you're a member of the family, you should have an account. If you're not, you shouldn't. And so as quickly as I can, when I get that email, I'll confirm that information, and provided it all checks out, I'll approve your account. At the point that I approve your account, you'll get an email from the system saying that your account has been approved and is activated. You can then go ahead and log in to the family tree software to access the full family tree using the account information that you filled out here, your username and your password. Your username will come in the email, your password you're going to have to remember. So from there, once you've got an account, go back to the Steinauer website and select Full Family Tree. Full Family Tree will take you to our family tree software. In this case, we've got a login. The login page allows you to enter the information you have. If you don't remember your username or password, this is also where you recover it from. In this case, I'm going to log into a test account, so you can see here what everybody else sees, and hit login. This will take you into the family tree software. From there, you can see a whole bunch of interesting information. The first page you get to when you log into the family tree is the descendants view of Johann Josef Steinauer. This I figured was probably the most interesting view in the family tree, and it also allows you to see something that is very similar to a view that we have in the family tree notebook. If you wanted to, you can print any page in the family tree. So if you want to recreate the family tree notebook from a page like this, you simply use this print button up here. It'll give you a window of the family tree without all of the user interface and that kind of thing that's suitable for printing. I chose not to print it because our family tree is growing so large that it would be multiple volumes. So we figured it was better to keep it online and allow you to print it if you wanted a hard copy. Anyway, so let's get back to this page. So this is a person page. Everybody has a person page. The first view of Johann Josef takes you to the descendants view, but in general, when you go to a person, you're going to be taken to an individual page. And so the first tab for any individual any individual is going to have a page like this that has tabs across the top. The first tab on the individual page is probably the most interesting tab because this has all of the details about that person. And so in this case, what you can see is information about that person, when they were born, where they were born, died, buried, all of that kind of good stuff. Who their parents were, who their family and children were. In the case of Johann, all of this information is in the public record because he passed away in 1791. So you can find all of this information on Ancestry and that kind of good stuff. So the individual tab allows you to see a whole collection of information about that person. It also allows you to see an event map. And so the more information we have about events in that person's life, the more we can map them across the world and keep track of what's going on. In this case, we know where he was born, we know where he died, and we know where he was buried. And it happens to be all in the same town. But for other folks, this map is more interesting. The next tab is the Ancestors tab, which is who were their forefathers. In the case of him, we haven't done a whole lot of research, although I have some information that I haven't entered yet, on beyond his parents, who is upstream of him. So that's my next research project, is to figure that out. But if you look at yourself, you'll see an ancestors view that's actually quite interesting, that goes back many, many, many generations. There's multiple ways of looking at this. So in each of these tabs, there's a tab, and then there's a collection of other views for that particular piece of data. That's very similar to if I go under the descendants, and this is the inverse of the ancestors, obviously. I click on descendants, and you can see that person's children, grandchildren, and other descendants from there. In the case of him, that's a large list. And so the first view of this family tree is of him 4 generations back. In this case, I'm actually going to whittle it down so it's a little bit easier to view and select the generations to 2. This is the full view that allows you to see the person, their gender, and if we have a picture of them, and we would like to collect pictures of people, if we have a pictures of them, who they are. There's a bunch of other views that are interesting as well, and so let's say you wanted to go back a little bit further, but you don't have the screen real estate. I can go into compact form. This is the same kind of family tree, but without the pictures. So now I've got the option of going a little bit deeper into the family tree, which is actually quite nice. There's also a text view, which is same as this graph, but it's a little bit more compact and a little, in my opinion, harder to read, but it's another view. The one that's most similar to the family tree notebook is this register view. And so if I go into this register view with Johann Josef, you can see all of the various different generations of his family all the way down. And so if you were to do generations and do 12, you'll probably get everybody. Be warned that if I do 12, you're asking the family tree software to do a lot of calculations, and that might be slow. So I would recommend keeping the number of generations a little bit on the small side, and then navigate through. But if you wanted to print the entire family tree notebook again, if you chose to, you would use this view and register, and you would select as many generations as you want, and you would hit the print button. And now you have a printed copy of the entire family tree. So then the next tab is a relationship tab. I'm not going to go into details of this, but what this will allow you to do is calculate the relationship and visualize what the relationship is between any 2 people. And so you can select find and find a relationship between, say, this person and another person. And so in this case, let's say let's say Roseanne Cosgrove. And so I want to find out the relationship between this person and her. Now I'm going to select calculate, and it'll bring up after a little bit of calculation, and so I'm going to talk a little bit, you can see that the relationship between Anna Cosgrove and Johann Josef Steinauer is 2 generations in a marriage. And so you can see those kind of things. So this is kind of a handy way to understand, like, if you meet somebody this weekend and you don't know who they are, what their relationship is, you can use this and it'll allow you to find out that they're your second cousin twice removed or whatever. The next one, which is interesting, is the timeline. And so the timeline will allow you to understand what happens over the course of history and this person's lifespan, but also when different things happened, right? And so you can see when their different children came around, when their grandchildren came around, all of that kind of stuff, which is actually quite interesting. So then, the next most important thing is to be able to correct information. So I would love to say that every single thing in this family tree is exactly correct, but it's not. I guarantee it's not. And so if you find a problem on any of these pages, I am not at all bothered by you telling me that I messed something up. There was a lot of data entry, and I am certain that there are typos and other data entry errors all over the place. To fix that, to suggest a change, you go up into the suggest box, right? So you click on suggest from a person, and you can type information. And so in this case, what you can do is type who you are, right? And so this, it's kind of strange that it doesn't know who you are since you're logged in, but anyway, you type who you are so that I know who's submitting the information, your email address. You can choose to CC yourself. Email address again so that you're sure that it goes to the right place, I guess. I don't know. And then a description of what's wrong. And so if I've got the date wrong, or if I've got other information wrong, or they have a child that I didn't know about, or they got divorced or remarried, or any information, type whatever you want here. If it's enough information, I'll go ahead and update the information. If it's not, I'll have enough information because you've given me your email address to ask you more questions. The other thing, and the actual more fun thing that I'd like to gather, is if you find a person in here where I don't have a picture, or you'd like to submit a picture, or you have an obituary, or you have some other information, this submit photo or document link allows you to send that to me. And so what that'll allow you to do is, again, your name, email address, but then it'll allow you to send an attachment and a description of what that attachment is. What that does is email me a copy of, let's say you have a picture or whatever, it'll email me a copy of the picture, and it also gives me a description of what that is. The other thing is this credit or source, and so it's pretty important that we not put copyrighted information up on the website without getting permission. That'll get us in trouble. And so if you got it from somewhere else, let's say you got an obituary, give me a link to the website so that I can confirm that it's okay for us to post the obituaries, those kind of things. So, and then you just click submit attachment. That'll send it off to me, and I can update the information. So that's that, and so that's how you go about submitting additional information. So let me show you a couple of other things that you can do in this tree software. And so, okay, so I spent a lot of time showing you about this dude. That's great, but I want to find somebody else that is closer to me. And so in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these menus up here. This home menu will take you back to steinauer.us. It's the top level website. The search menu, the search button will allow you to find somebody. So let's say you wanted to go about finding so, and it doesn't have to be a complete, but you can go in and type some information, and it will go find in the family tree. And in this, let's see, oh, because I got it wrong. If you get it wrong, it'll take you to this page. And then search, and let's see if I got that right again. Oh, nope, sorry, I need to hit this one. Search, and it'll take me in this case to Anna Cosgrove's webpage. And so what you can see here is information about that person you were looking for. And again, what you can see is some more information on the map. You can see information about her children. So in this case, Nicholas A. and her children, as well as other information. And then again, you're on the same webpage. With the ancestors, and it's essentially the same person view that you saw before. So there's a couple of other things that I want to show you, and then I'll be done. So under the find, there's a collection of different things that you can search for. So you can search for all of the people of various different criteria. So let's say, for the sake of argument, that I wanted to find all of the people that were named Dennis or whatever. If I go into find first names, then it essentially gives me a way of navigating through all of the people with various different first names. And it also gives you some cool statistics. So it turns out that the most popular surname in this family tree, first name in this family tree, is John. Interesting. So same kind of thing with surnames. I'm guessing Steinauer is going to be high. Yes. but there's a collection of other ones. And so this is how you find all of the people of a particular first name or last name or that kind of thing. You can also find places. And so I can go in here under places and find all of the people that were in the USA, but I can also drill into various different places. And so I can find all of the people that, let's say for the sake of argument, I wanted to find people from California because I'm fond of California. I can go in there and go to San Francisco, and I can very quickly find find San Francisco. And if I go in here, in theory, yeah, so when I click on San Francisco, I can find all of the people that have a connection to San Francisco, and that's actually more than I thought. So, which is kind of cool. So these are all the people that were born. These are all the people that have lived in San Francisco, and in that case, that's me, and various different people that have been married in San Francisco. So that's kind of fun. You can also pull up a place map, and this is where the maps get particularly interesting, is you can see over the course of the entire world where various different events happen, which is kind of interesting. So there's a bunch of interesting things. I'm not going to go into all of these details here. The next one is the media page. And in the media page, this is how you get to all of the various different kinds of media that we've collected in the family tree. The pictures we gather in the family tree are pictures of people, people records, that kind of thing. So you'll find pictures of various different folks that are in the family. These are also linked to their page, and so if you go into, say, this site, you can see a picture of my sister, her husband, and my nephew, those kind of things. And so those are also linked to the people pages, but they're interesting pieces of media by themselves. And so yes, you can see this is my sister, and if I go under Farrell and Abraham, you can see their family page. Okay, so that's great. You can also find interesting information about like headstones, and so this software allows us to collect locations and images of people's headstones, which is useful. Albums, and then there's all media. This isn't fully filled out yet. We're still gathering that information. Our primary goal was getting all of the accurate information in here, so that's what's in here right now. Under info, there's a collection of different reports. There's ways of getting statistics, and so statistics will tell you we've got a total of 4,600 some people in there, percentage male, percentage female, whole bunch of interesting information that I think is kind of cool. The software allows for multiple trees. We only have one tree. It also allows us to track sources, and one of the things you'll notice is that I've got a collection of different sources, but the most important source here is the Steinauer family tree from the Sue Miles family tree. And so there's you can see there's a lot of records that are linked to that notebook. But basically we're keeping track of where the information came from and other notes. So hopefully that gives you a pretty good overview into what's in this family tree, what it's capable of, and that kind of thing. If you've got any other questions, if you've got any other concerns, if you find information that you'd like to update, please drop me a line, let me know. Use the suggest form in here, and so if you find situations where you want to add pictures or you want to suggest changes, please use this form. I'm happy to get changes. I guess that's it. Like I said, if you ever need to contact me, you can mail me directly if you've got my email address, or just use the contact form on the website, and that will allow you to get in touch with me. Hope you have fun, and I look forward to hearing from you. Take care.